Happy Sunday. I will be coding. That is what we're doing here today. I have been absent from the Sunday morning streams for the last couple of weeks, but we have been working on this project. Let's see if we go back to the page on itch. Thanks. Yeah, I hope your Sunday's been going well. It's about 8:30 here on the west coast of the U.S. And I got my coffee, so there's that. You're brand new to coding. Interesting. What brings you to have an interest? Is it game dev or something else? Also, I think I say this like every stream, but I'm overdue for a haircut, so excuse that mess. How long have we been working on this project? You've always wanted to learn how to code. Well, it's an interesting thing. I will admit it's been so long. I think one of the interesting things, one of the cool things about writing programs is that because it's something we're making up. It's like a rabbit hole that just goes forever, right? There's always more to be able to figure out. Maybe to be a game dev, sure. I have had some interest, and I've in the past made some like practice toy games. Hey, Brainless, good morning. How's it going? But in the last, I was gonna look at our project. Let me look at the repo. Right, so we have 375 commits on this repository for ZomNom Defense. All is well playing some Alchemy Factory. Nice. How about me? Just rolled out of bed not too long ago, and it's like, oh well, time for the stream. I wish there was. I understand why there's not a sort. I mean, honestly, I could probably do this from the command line faster, right? Rather than scrolling through this. For that matter, why couldn't this be an infinite scroll? When did we start working on this project? Is the thing I'm trying to answer. Of course, this wasn't our first project on stream doing game dev, but it's kind of become the biggest. We sunk a lot of time into it. There we go. Okay, so August. We've been working on ZomNom Defense since August. These are, oh boy. If you're new to coding, you're probably also new to things like version control. So GitHub is one place that people can store code and share and manage like collaboration. And so these are all of the changes that I've made over time to this project. Is what that was, right? So I was just going back through the list of all the changes, back to the first change, which would have been when I started the project, and that's what I was trying to figure out. So August was basically a log of all the stuff I've done on the project since August. So ZomNom Defense, like it says here, it's a lighthearted zombie tower defense game. Yes. Back to my point though, which is that one of the great things about coding, and also a thing that maybe is kind of overwhelming or frustrating at times, is there can be a lot to learn, and that doesn't stop, right? You can choose to be like, okay, I know what I need to know to do this thing, but in terms of if you were wanting to look at what other people are doing and how you can do things better, or differently, or look at a different perspective, there's a bunch of different things, and that just effectively is an infinite some may say a treadmill of things out there. But you don't have to know everything to do anything. Like, you can get started, and there are, versus when I started learning how to program, which was nearly 30 years ago. There's a lot more resources and free resources out on the internet to get into coding, no matter like what angle, like if it's game dev or web dev or embedded systems or whatever. I say that, you know, it's a long time for me. A lot of my life I've spent writing code and reading code. But of course there are people that have been are or have been around before that and for longer. But it sneaks up on you. Yeah, so this is the project, and so we're using Godot, which is an open source game engine and kind of like environment. And we have like a runnable game here. I have it just embedded inside of the environments, although it can be launched freestanding as well. And so we have the start of a tutorial level, right? So we got a car model that we got from Open Game Art. In fact, all of the game, like all the art, like models, are from Open Game Art. And we have, here comes a zombie. Did we? No, we still have the off-screen indicator with the placeholder texture. We probably need to confine the survivor a little bit more. I mean, I guess it's kind of fine. I did see one point where they had, yeah, so you can see, I guess that's fine. Right, and so the idea is, this is our tutorial level. So you start off. One of the things I think we're going to do is we're going to make it so that there's going to be some like text that comes up, and like the game will be paused and you go through things to like explain the game a little bit, to be like, here's where this stuff is in the UI, because like how otherwise would you know that well, you can hover over this, and we do need to, like, this is just the placeholder texture right now, right? But you can place a turret, except you can't, of course. Interesting. So that's a bug. The preview shouldn't interact with the world, so that's a bug. Hold on. Let's see. Let's do this. Create. Oh, you know what? Here, I'll do this. Create a GitHub issue that for this bug where placeholder obstacles such as turrets interact with the world, such as they do damage to zombies before they are placed. Alright, and let's quit out the game so we're not listening to the background music. I guess I could turn it off. So we found a bug. That's great. There are lots of bugs, I'm sure. What this is doing is I'm using GitHub Copilot, which can create an issue, a bug, a record of like, hey, I want to at some point come back and fix this. I just don't want to do it right now, right? So what this is going to do is that it's going to create a here, I'll just, there we go. Okay, great. So on my project in GitHub, I have a list of issues, ever growing list of issues. And we will put this there. Let me make sure that this is reasonable. Placeholder obstacles such as turrets are currently interacting with the game world while in placement preview mode. This means they can attack and damage zombies before the players actually confirm placement. When an obstacle is in placement preview mode, just a transparent preview shown. Shouldn't attack enemies. Shouldn't interact with the game world. Should only become active after the player confirms placement by clicking. It's also an exploit, right? Because you don't pay for the putting the thing into the world until you like place it, right? When you're just hovering, when you click the thing and hover, it's not actually supposed to be real yet. It's just a preview. So you can attack the zombies without having to pay for the turret. Okay, and this may or may not be true. I'm just gonna leave that for now because I want to look at what is the most important thing for us to do right now. Maybe it's fixing that bug, maybe not. So the thing that we have been doing for the last several weeks, well, like 2 months, but we missed like 2 weeks of streams, is work on this scenario, this kind of tutorial scenario. And so the things I said I wanted to do was I wanted to make it so that the zombie would damage the car, right? So that you do eventually have to do something. I think the car should have a lot of hit points so that the player who's launching this game for the first time has lots of time to figure out what's going on, and is not put under a lot of immediate pressure, right? Some pressure, like you're in the action, but you have time to kind of figure things out. Prevent the survivor from wandering away from the car roof. That seems to already be happening, right? So I'm not sure we need to do anything there. Add a road. So now we need to do something to put a road into the world. It's just, smart, right? Of like, here's a road because we're on a car. Like the idea for this scenario, like the kind of the in-universe kind of what's going on, is that your car broke down and it's the zombie apocalypse. Something along those lines. And I'm not gonna dig into it any further than that. I wanted kind of a arid kind of desert environment with a single road with a survivor on the car, and that was what it seemed like a good idea. We want to add some scrap boxes, because we want to introduce the idea of being able to collect this scrap to be able to use for building stuff. So I have to think about what in this level, like it doesn't make sense for there just to be scrap boxes next to your car. If this is like a car that's broke down, what is the environment supposed to be like? It's not urban, it's kind of like middle of nowhere sort of thing, right? So where does this crap come from? I guess we can tell. So a thing I was thinking about is having kind of like a cutscene, not like a video, like an in-game cutscene sort of thing, where we would have we'd actually have the car maybe move, or have the survivor get out of the car or walk around the car or something before they get on the roof. Just trying to, we're not making sticking to basics, right? But having something that's telling some kind of narrative there to add context. So why am I bringing that up? Well, I was thinking of like, do we have a part where maybe, ooh, what if the trunk was open? Well, let's launch the game again so we can see what we're working with. And let me, settings, audio, music off, apply. Okay, there we go. So we're paused. So we could pop open the trunk and have some boxes here. Do that. Have to change the model slightly to do that. Okay, so that's an idea. So let's animatable is a word, right? And then we do want to add waves of zombies, right? It's not just a single zombie, but there'll be more zombies that come in over time, kind of forcing you to do something to keep up, right? And then balance scenario, so you have to struggle to destroy zombies before they destroy the car, and you build defenses to delay zombies while clicking them, right? So basically the idea here with the game is that initially you wouldn't, hey Moody Abigail, thanks for the lurk. Initially you wouldn't have the ability to build turrets or most other defenses. Instead, really the only way to deal with zombies is you have to just click them. Now, I don't know about, this is one of the things when it comes to balance that we'll need to figure out is, great, good job, mate. And that unlocked the next scenario. One of the things we'll need to figure out with balance is how much health stuff should have, right? I had a thought in there somewhere. What was the thought? Clicking zombies, balance. Oh, it's a bot. A little bot. Goodbye, bot. What was the thought? I almost had it again. Yeah. Something about the zombies pathfinding, or no? Something about health? You just hate it. You have an idea, and it's just like either you distracted by a different thought or something else, and then you just lose it. Oh no, cursor. The cursor. Yes. As I was clicking the zombie, we did a thing quite a while ago where when the attack is on cooldown, the cursor changes to an X. But what we should do is we should replace the default cursor. Here, do we have something in the issues of the project already? Let's see. Let's go back to just the whole issues list. That'd be easier. Cursor. Okay, yeah, it's right there. It's in phase 3. So we'll once we get through this phase 2 stuff, So broadly speaking, this project, in kind of thinking about what I wanted to do, I broke it up into a set of phases or milestones. In GitHub, they're called milestones. I just called them phases for whatever reason. So phase 1 was a bunch of just like the plumbing of how the game works, right? Achievements and tech tree and XP and scrap and levels and all that stuff. Phase 2 is what we're working on right now, which is like some of the core content, like the initial levels and some initial kind of like polishing and making it cohesive. And then phase 3, I have some ideas that I haven't really thought completely through yet for different challenges or game modes, as well as a real polish pass of like cleaning up artwork and trying to make it, you know, something that looks like not just a jumble of stuff I got from OpenGameArt. And then I have a bunch of stuff here. So phase 4 is like Twitch integration, whatever special abilities is supposed to be, I don't remember. Advanced enemy AI, so like making the zombies do more, like have more interesting behaviors, or having like special zombies could be in that. Or like swarming behavior sort of stuff might be in there. And then phase 5 was theoretically we could put this onto I've already uploaded it to itch. I don't even know if the game is honestly runnable because I only have like Mac and Windows binaries on there. Do I have Linux as well? I do have. Oh right. So I have Linux and Windows downloads for this. Do they work? I don't know. But actually, like moving towards actually having a launched game would be phase 5. If we get there, I don't know. We're still in phase 2, and given our current velocity, this might be quite a ways away if we get there. Anyway, back to scenario 1. Okay, so basically all of this is me trying to remember what this project where we were at, because it's been a couple weeks. So hopefully that's been a good refresher for more than just me. Okay, so here's the project. Finally, we're about half an hour in, and we're gonna look at some code. Maybe. How does it work? So like right now, let's see, scenario 1. Here we go. So here's the level, right? How does it work so that the zombie will attack the survivor? Oh, I think I know what's going on here, right? So let's look at the scenario. In the scenario, we have a few different things. So hold on, let's call it muscle car instead of just muscle. I think that was just the name of the model. Was muscle.fpx. Okay, cool. And these are separate models. That's cool. Okay, well anyway, so muscle car is this thing. And then we have our survivor. Now I think we need to add something to muscle car to make it to be something the zombies will attack. I think maybe the easiest thing to do is to look at, I don't suppose it's called zombie. Okay, we have some things. Let's see, where would this be? Is this entities, enemies, template, enemy.gd. So this is the main script for enemies, which is going to be zombies, because that's what this game is about. And there's a bunch of code. Do we need to be bigger? Might need to be bigger. Also, we don't need the sidebar. Is that legible on stream? Might be good there. Okay. So broadly speaking, yes, great. In Godot, you have nodes. Everything is a node, right? So like all the stuff over here in this tree, it's a node. And there are different kinds of nodes, but for every kind of node, it's a generic word, right? It just means like a thing that can have things connected to it, right? Node is actually a really common term in like computer science, right? It's a thing that can connect to other things, right? So in Godot, you have these nodes and they can be like nested inside of each other, right? So we have like a survivor node, which is inside of this node called stage scenario. We have some nodes that we can't see until we run the game for the zombies that also appear in here. And so you might notice that some of these nodes have this little icon. This is because the node has a script attached to it. And so what Godot does is that it has some logic that happens when a node exists and has a script. And so one of the things that will happen is that let me take a step back. I got to explain one more thing to explain the thing I want to explain. So what we're looking at right now, this is called a scene, right? So this scene is called Scenario 1, and it has all these nodes in it. When you're running the game, when you're doing stuff, like when you're running a program in Godot, it loads a scene, and the scene has nodes in it. And then as the thing runs, you can have code that adds scenes or adds nodes to the scene or removes nodes, and those nodes do different things or not. Like we have a node here, this one called muscle. This is just the 3D model, right? So nodes have a type, which have some of the logic of what the node does baked into it. So a mesh instance 3D is the type of this node. That's what makes it so that I can attach the model, right? So there's a file that has the model of the car in it. I can attach it to this node, and Godot will render that into the world. To make a long story short. Point being is that, so we have this function. A function is just a bundle of instructions to do something when it's run, right? So if you define a function, like here's a function I made called load resource. It does a bunch of stuff, but it doesn't actually do anything until you run the function, right? And so one of the main uses of functions is to organize code into smaller things that you can say, okay, this is the thing that I want to have happen in some circumstance. And so somewhere else, I will have some other code that will run this, probably in a different file. And be like, okay, well, if I want to load the resource, I call this function, it does that. So this is something I came up with, but nodes have a function called _ready, and Godot will run this function when something happens, specifically when this node is in a scene. Either it's added to a scene that's already like running, or the scene is added, like we switch to that scene and the node is present. This will get run once when things are ready, right? So in other words, this is sort of a do these things when we're ready to start, right? And I think at the level of the explanation I've just given, it would be a little bit difficult to go into the detail about what all these things do. Suffice it to say, these are the things that we need to do to have things set up for our enemy to work, our zombie to work. We have load resource here, which loads a bunch of the details about what this type of enemy is, like its movement speed and how much XP you get for defeating it. Choose target is a function that I also made that says what? It looks for things that are targets. If there are no targets, it tries to move towards where it currently is, so it stops moving. If there are targets, it will pick one of the targets that are available. Like if we had multiple survivors in our scene, the zombie will pick a random one to move towards. And okay, so this is specifically about moving towards a target, not attacking, right? And then find nearest obstacle in range looks at things that are in the obstacle group. I think this is what I'm looking for. It finds things that are, so nodes can be tagged with a group, right? So you can say across your scene, or in fact all of your scenes, you can be like, oh, this node is a obstacle. This node is a survivor or a target, right? And so I have a variable up here, which lets me, like, I can say for the script that the group to look for obstacles is called obstacles. The group for things that are targets to attack, to pathfind towards rather, are targets. So this is giving me a clue, because I think all we need to do to make it so that the car is something that the zombie will damage, because a thing that I chose to do with the way this is set up is that we have this special node called health. This health contains the hit points for whatever it's associated, it's linked to, it's inside of, right? So this is what makes the car have 1,000 hit points. And also sets up what the sound effects are for when it takes damage or when it's destroyed. So like the car is damageable, that's why it has hit point numbers. But the zombie doesn't know that this is a thing that it can damage, that it should try to damage on its way to trying to attack the survivor. So we can go to groups here. Oh, it is in targets. Okay. So that's not the issue. What is the issue? So when choose target is run, it finds nodes in the group target. So this shouldn't be, the size of this should not be 0. There should be like one thing in it. It picks random. So it's should say chose new target. So when we have the game running and we have the game running, and we'll see what happens in the logs. Okay, so we can see the game started, or rather the scenario timer started. No, I can't make this bigger. I wonder, is there a way? Hey Pagan. Asking you as a developer, what's your personal opinion on AI? AI superior? And is that like a phrase people are using? And that pretty soon we're not going to be needed to code. I mean, I don't do it as much on stream because I think it's less interesting often to just be like, hey, start tackling this problem for me, AI. But I use AI quite extensively in multiple settings. It is helpful, but I think of it more of as an aid, mostly. Sometimes not so much. Often things will not go in a way that is conducive to the overall direction of the thing I'm trying to do. And that's like the least worst case. Sometimes AI will suggest things that are just plainly wrong. And will that improve and change over time? Possibly. I don't know how far that will go. I don't know if at some point we will, the singularity will actually arrive. But in the meantime, more seriously, there's more to creating things than the details of writing code, right? So understanding of what we're trying to do, understanding of the constraints that we're in, those sorts of things are things that, absent truly general artificial intelligence, are still going to be needed, right? Software engineering as a discipline is not going to be replaced with the things that currently exist. I think more generally, the idea that AI can truly replace and do all the things for software engineering would really entail having kind of a general purpose artificial intelligence that's capable of having true memory and like cohesive like thought and understanding and a bunch of things that it doesn't have presently. And that would be interesting. I think that there are implications of that broader than the question of, will we need to code anymore? Yeah, you're welcome. And thanks for chatting, being here. How's it going? Happy Sunday. Right, so we're trying to figure this out. So we can see it shows new target, muscle car. What else happens? So what calls choose target? Actor setup. Attack target, if not current target, choose target. If it's not in the target group, choose target. Wait, I'm confused. Chose new target, muscle car. Choose target, node in group, target group, targets. Should it be? It shouldn't be in the targets group though, right? Like the survivor should be in the targets group. The car should be in the obstacle group, which isn't listed here. Is that not right? Can we look at a different scenario? Let's see. So let's go back to 3D mode and look at scenario 2. Right, this one has. Okay, we typically don't have obstacles in the scenario because those are the things that are being placed by the player, right, when the game is running. Let's see. So I think what we need to do, let's go back to 1x. And then I click my test button here to give myself some free scrap. And then we hit escape. Yeah, I was supposed to at some point add a button here for the tech tree. I guess I didn't do that. That's weird. Closing tech tree UI. That's fine. I made a hotkey for it. Keybinds. Why? Why is tech tree? Why not? So what I wanted to do is I wanted to buy a defensive tech or unlock it. There we go. So now if I go here and I can't do anything while the game is paused, was a choice that I made. So we can make an obstacle. There we go. Oh, interesting. And then if we look at the remote tree, so this is what the game has running. Like the running game's organization of nodes, right? We can look at what's there. So then we look inside a stage scenario, and then we can see. Oh, it's not, is it? It's at the top level. There's the obstacle. Okay. Obstacle has stack of crates. Select a single node to edit its signals and groups. I am selecting a single node. Maybe if we look at the crates scene. So here is the crates scene. So this is the thing that's placed into the game world when we place that object. Yeah, it has an obstacles group. So interesting. Yeah. Project settings. Is that where the groups are? Where are global groups set? Oh, I just do this here, don't I? Yeah. Group already exists. Interesting. Okay, so this. What is this warning saying? This group belongs to another scene and can't be edited. I see. So what scene owns that group? Oh, maybe. Right, so this scene has a parent scene. Yeah, that's that. Does it? No. Yes. There it is. Convert to global group. There we go. Okay, so now we'll be able to see that everywhere and add it. So then if we go back to scenario 1, this is not a target. Targets are what the survivors are tagged as. So that's why we were seeing that in the log, because basically the zombie was trying to get to the car and attack it, which is really interesting because that means it should have already been doing damage to it, and that would have been an annoying bug. Anyway, so yeah, this should be tagged obstacle. Now if we run the game, I suspect what we're going to see is that the zombie does the same things it was doing before. I wonder if this will just not change the behavior at all, or the zombie will... Oh, okay. No, that worked. Why did it work now and not before? I don't know. There we go. Okay. That turned out to be an easy bug to fix. Probably at some point want to change our log level. All right. Yeah, that's the coffee gone. So what happens when the car is destroyed? That's a good amount of time, right? There's lots of time to like assess the situation, even even if you're, especially here. Oh, whoops. Oops. I think something else is supposed to happen here. What do we think? Okay. Well, I think health should not go negative. Interesting. Okay. Alright, so here's our health script. It's got a lot of stuff going on in it. Take damage is the key thing here. I think this is the thing that gets called whenever something takes damage. It's the thing that causes the numbers to change, right? So if we see the numbers changing, this must be getting called. Okay, so what is this damage calculation? So max damage per hit is how much. This is like a cap on how much damage you can take in a round. There aren't rounds here. It's not turn-based, but it's like how much. If an enemy can do 10,000 damage, we don't want. Yeah, I don't know. It seemed like a good idea at the time to have the possibility. In the case of the car's health, the max damage per hit is infinite, right? So the minimum will be just this amount. So whatever amount the damage was. And then floor I rounds the value downward, returning the largest whole number that is not more than X. Type safe version of floor, returning an int, yes. Not the same thing as int x, which rounds towards 0. In other words, if you give it a negative number, if you give int a negative number, it'll round down. It'll round towards 0. So it'll end up rounding up if it's negative. This will always round down. It doesn't matter because the amount should be positive. Let's add some asserts, right? So GD script, like a lot of programming languages, have an assert function. You can say, hey, this is not ever supposed to happen, and then you can give it a message to say what should be output if that does happen. It is a keyword and not a function. A thing that you'll see in some languages is that there isn't really a built-in assertion, right? So you just have a function. So the note here, for performance reasons, the code inside assert is only executed in debug builds or when running the project from the editor. Don't include code that has side effects in assert call because it won't necessarily happen, right? So if you in here call some function, you can't rely on that function actually being called because it won't in non-test setups. Which is good from so when we publish this game, we can keep this line of code here and it won't actually do anything in the distributed production build. So we want to do this. One of the things we want to do here is we want to say actually hit points should be current hit points minus damage, but if this is less than 0, then it should be 0 instead. We shouldn't set hit points to a negative value. And it's the last point we touch hit points. So what we can do here is we can assert hit points greater than equal. Hit points should never be negative, right? So that's superficially a thing that's going on there that we need to do is to make sure that hit points don't become negative because it looks weird. They should hit 0 and then you're dead. Whatever this health component, which is the word I've used to describe this set of nodes that are attached to things to give behaviors, that is the behavior I want. So when we do this, we say damage.emit, damage hit points, damage source. And when we hit 0 hit points, we call die. And die, if we're not already dead, will play audio. It will say dead is true, hit points is 0, and it will emit the died signal. And what we should be doing in Muscle Car, well, it doesn't have a script, is the thing. But that's fine. I don't think we actually need a script. I think what we can do is if we go to the node and we go to the signals tab. So here's this died signal. What we can do is we can attach this to something. Well, so the problem is that this signal has an argument, damage source. So for us to connect the signal to a function or a method in a node, it needs to have the same arity. It has to have the same number of arguments. Otherwise, what I would be tempted to do is there should be a what's the method called to I guess we wouldn't want hide, we would want I'm sure I'll know it when I see it. Isn't there a method to remove a node from the scene? Or do we have to do that on the parent? Oh, just free. We call free. Or queue free. This is not alphabetical. Why isn't this alphabetical? Yeah, queue free is on the node. I don't think this. If I do that, see, we can add extra call arguments. Unbind signal arguments. Ooh, does that work? Unbinds 1. Interesting. So if we run this, does this run? Does this work? Let's go faster. I'm reaching over for my coffee and it doesn't exist anymore. All right, and this time the zombie came from this way. The panning seems to be affected by the game speed as well. Boop. Okay, so it's a problem. The survivor needs to fall, but we've not had gravity yet. What do we do? I think we might need to actually attach a script to the muscle car. Or maybe we just do on the scenario. Like we make a custom script for the scenario that handles all this. I think that's maybe what we do. Instead of attaching the signal to queue free. This is a neat thing that I didn't know that you could do like this. But I think maybe what we'll do is we'll create a custom script for the scenario, and we'll handle the destruction of the car in there. And when we do that, we will animate the survivor falling to the ground and all that. Okay, so let's update our list of things. We're gonna have to take a break here for a couple of minutes because Switch has gotta run ads. So I think this is really effectively done, but we want to make survivor fall when car is destroyed. New scenario script. Okay, so we're gonna pause here for just like 3 minutes, and when we come back, we'll continue working on the list and hopefully make some good progress. So